The deliberate child.
Man, books are rubbish. You want some tea?
Yeah, yes please, that'd be very nice.
2 cups of tea coming right up for 2 friends.
Two's a good number. Tea's a good idea.
Paul, we don't actually have any tea left.
Oh no.
Wait, what's this?
Oh, I made some tea already. I made some tea
What?
first. But if you do want to find something useful to do, I guess you could do the laundry. That's a thing.
Right. Yeah, of course.
That always needs doing. Oh, sorry, I just already did all the laundry, all of it. I've done all of the laundry. I've done all of.
Right. Well, I'll go to the shops.
Oh, well, have a good time. That's good. That's really useful. I'll probably go swimming then. If you're going to do that, I'll go swimming a bit later. It's a nice evening. Probably do the outside pool.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go to the shops. We're going to need to extend the table for this one. So, have you seen or watched Lord of the Rings? You know that bit where Gandalf is riding around the world, marshalling armies against the forces of evil? Well, Lords of Xidit is kind of like that, except you're all Gandalf, it's super passive-aggressive, and you all ride turtles and yaks, which is a pretty good start in my book. You know what else is a good start? Everything you get in this box. It's like performing open heart surgery on a birthday cake. Look, you get a load of luminous soldiers, some stacking wizard towers, a ton of tokens, some weird cog things for each player, and screens and a map, if you care more about the IP than I do, and this board showing the candy-coloured kingdom of Xidit. My goodness! I think there's actually some insulin in this box somewhere for the diabetics among us.
And so your next thought upon sifting through all these wonderful magical components is going to probably be, oh, this must be a complicated game with all these moving parts and things and bits and... Yeah, wait, it's actually not.
Well, it is.
It is.
Well, it's not, though.
No, well, all right. Lords of Xidit is what us professionals would call a straightforwardly complicated yet comparatively simple game for a relatively serious night's play kind of game.
Boom! Nailed it.
So the game starts like this. Randomly, the board is covered in an assortment of cities, which are grey discs that have units just waiting to be recruited in them, like here and here, and white discs, which are monsters that are terrifying the land and obviously just waiting to be stabbed or archered or magicked or priested to death, or whatever it is that you do with monsters. It doesn't matter. Whatever the case is, the weapon that you use to defeat them is fundamentally the same. It's this, which is a sort of programming cog-based hero app that you use to travel your way around the land by programming yourself. I'll explain. You can issue movement orders, which are orders of a corresponding colour of road, such as heading down a blue road, which I want to do here with my hero, so he'll travel down the blue path for his first turn, and then I've issued a black path order, so he'll travel down the black path for the second part of his turn. But I can also just wait in a space, or I can do a thing, and doing a thing means if you land in a city recruiting a unit, or if you land on top of a monster, stabbing the monster until it's dead and you get all the glory and the reputation. Now you can probably immediately guess what the problem here is. Everyone around the table is doing the same programming at the same time in secret, and then you reveal to each other. So immediately you're trying to just outmaneuver or outright outwit the other players around the table, because you don't want to be the second person to turn up in a space where a monster was to find it dead, because you've just lost an opportunity there. However, You might want to be the second or third or fourth or last person to land in a city, because that's entirely different. When you walk into a city in Lords of Xidit and you walk out with a unit, whoever controls that city, I don't know, the mayor, the king, the baron, always fobs you off with the cheapest unit first, which is inevitably going to be some kind of peasant, something like that. And that's before they give you access to their archers or their priests or their strangely purple candy wizard guys. So it's sometimes in your interest to make sure that actually Quinns beats you to a city and walks off with a couple of farmers, and then you waltz in and you get Legolas or a famous priest, the Pope, he's a priest, or a wizard like David Copperfield, and waltz out with them and then send them into combat. It's all about timing, it's all about anticipating, and it's all about just trying to be first, except when you want to be second.
But these are problems that your friends probably won't grok immediately. The game will start, they will all be a bit confused, they'll set their dials, they'll run around collecting soldiers, and they won't see this game yet until in year 2 it starts lumbering like an ogre out of the fog at them, probably because someone has a turn like, oh, well, I'll just go and collect this archer, then go kill this monster. Pshaw. Whereas what actually happens is someone nips over, grabs the archer, they go, accidentally get the wrong soldier, keep going, and can't kill the monster, which is fine because someone else ran up and killed the monster and travelled on their way anyway. I love that mechanically, that a player sort of has the rug pulled out from under them, and I love that thematically because just imagine this dude showing up in his big dinosaur, cresting the horizon to kill the big crab there, and then the crab was killed last month, and there are still streamers hanging over the town hall from last month's crab death celebration. You can just imagine him sort of turning to his second in command and being really grumpy and saying, well, we'll ride for Aberystwyth. That's not a fantasy place, that's a place in Wales.
But wait, we haven't even got to the most exciting mechanic about Lords of Xidit yet. You see, there's secrets within this box of secrets in your house that has secrets. They're just secrets, okay? So, when you defeat a monster, there's 2 of 3 potential rewards that you can claim. 3 different sort of hero metrics by which your bravery is judged. The first is just gold. It's just money. It's a certain amount of gold pieces. For killing this weird spindly dragon, I can have 4 gold pieces. So I'll take 4 gold pieces, and those get squirreled away behind my player screen, so people are never really quite sure how much I have. That's also where I'm, keeping my armies and other hidden information down in my trousers or my codpiece or whatever. That's just what you do as a hero. You cad, you rascal, you bounder. Another victory metric is bard songs, which work kind of like an area control game. Bards in nearby regions will compose top 10 hits about your victories. For example, if you kill this thing, you get 2 bard things that you can put in, say, that area, and now you are the most sung about person in that particular marshy, rocky region of the world. You're the most famous person there. It doesn't matter how many bard tokens you have in an area, just as long as you have more than anyone else, that gives you the most bard points. If you come second, you generally get a second figure, except there's a sexy, exciting thing that happens here. It's as sexy as all the David Bowie songs about how brave you are in his codpiece. It's even more exciting. It's basically a sort of a pop music piggy bank where you put in the bard tokens, but they're gone and no one can check how many there are until the very end of the game when you reveal what's in David Bowie's codpiece, what's in the castle, and reveal who the best person at being famous in a castle is, I guess. It's a bit like El Grande, if you've ever played that, where there's a castle where you just put things in and then you're not allowed to look inside, which I guess is a lot like a king with an oubliette. I don't know. And the third reward, it's wizard tower levels, which are a kind of a magical real estate that you want to have more of all over the board than anyone else. For killing this purple thing, I can have 3 blue wizard tower level things, except there's a catch, because wherever you build a wizard tower, it always has to be adjacent to the thing you've just killed. Wherever you build them, you can only have 4 levels maximum, and someone red has already been here and killed a monster with 2 wizard tower levels, so I can only put 2 more on top. Which means I can't.
So we've kind of got these 3 different victory paths that players are all competing towards. Well, on the subject, it's time for Shut Up and Sit Down's Mechanic of the Month. This week's winner is... it's Lords of Xidit for having players compete to not come last in any of these 3 categories. A round of applause, please.
Nah.
Regis Bonesse, you've won a week in Ireland's County Mayo, where you'll be doing such fun activities as... Paul, I think this is wrong. This is just a list of immunisations.
Show me. Ah, it's horrid.
I didn't even know smallpox. I thought that was eradicated.
This is big pox as well.
That.
And there's one other thing as well. Every 4 turns, censusing happens. Is censusing a word? You get censused. And it's another opportunity to earn a little more money or fame. What happens is you can potentially gain extra resources by revealing that you have the most peasants or knights at your disposal. Reveal the most peasants or archers, you get a bit more gold. Reveal the most knights or priests, and you get another song by David Bowie about your followers. And it's a chance to have a look at what everyone else actually has behind their screen as they compete to win the census and say, oh, I've got more peasants. And it's also an excuse to recruit more units than you need, which is generally a good idea anyway, because even if there's stuff on the board that you can't kill right now with your unit combinations, things might appear later. So, you know, it's good reason to keep recruiting things, but at the same time, you actually just don't have to win the census if you don't want to. You don't have to reveal the correct amount of peasants if you don't want to, and it might be useful to give the impression you don't have any and then immediately go and kill a monster that needs lots of peasants to kill it. So it's actually another opportunity to not be right about what other people are doing and actually be confused about what's happening and do things wrong. So deception.
So those are the rules in their entirety. But I do want to complain about one thing though. You see, Lords of Xidit is actually a re-implementation of a 2002 game called Himalaya. See, it was the same game, but you weren't managing, you know, soldiers and archers. You were Tibetan yak caravans managing shipments of barley and jade, and Lords of Xidit's red, black and blue roads had the much more elegant solution of being either rivers or mountain passes or cobbled streets. And I don't doubt that Lords of Xidit is a better, more modern game, but I do mourn the passing of that old theme.
Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, really? Would you trade dinosaur riding heroes with armies of magic users and priests and like this guy's on a magic turtle? You trade that for barley management?
Well, yeah.
Trading.
It's different, you know. It's like taking this classy, unique old building and tearing it down and replacing it with another Games Workshop.
I quite like Games Workshop though.
I quite like Games Workshop, but there.
Oh right, I thought you were going to just criticise it because it has a name that sounds like Lords of Dixit, which actually would be a better theme for a game.
That
Lords
would be
of
a better theme
Dixit.
for a game.
You are a hero and you recruit a band of followers to fight monsters that are abstract concepts on cards that are unusual and represent something metaphorical. But only one of the players can defeat the monster, because if all of you defeat the monster, that is a failure. And the monster itself actually stands for something else, something greater. It's like a fantasy version of Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh my god, did you enjoy it or not?
I quite like Lords of Dixit.
No, Xidit.
Ah! Lords of Xidit. I quite like Lords of Xidit, but I'm not very good at it. For a start, I found it difficult at times and a little bit frustrating. The thing with an order programming mechanic, for me, is everything that you queue up to do relies on everything else working out, and if you end up somehow out of sync or you don't anticipate exactly what happens, your entire turn can be ruined and then you just fail to do anything that you meant to do.
Yeah, I mean, usually when we look at programming games like the godly Robo Rally, or even recent stuff like Colt Express, mistakes are funny for the rest of the table and they're entertaining, and you can often end up accidentally doing great stuff.
Right.
Lords of Xidit is actually very cold, and it's you, and if you make a mistake, that's not funny. It's not funny to anyone.
No, you're just done for the turn.
And as far as fantasy games goes, usually fantasy games with, you know, soldiers and monsters, you will roll big handfuls of dice and there's some give there where players can just have fun if they're not really paying attention. Lords of Xidit? No. It's frosty, you know. It's just you and the company you have are the mistakes you make and the successes you have.
I think this is a cool idea, but I think it's difficult. And the main problem with that, as a central mechanic, programming to, to do anything in the game, to move, to recruit, to succeed, is you're not even bluffing other players. You're just trying to anticipate what they do, and if you're wrong, you're wrong.
There's not much bluff. Not as much.
You
bluffing
don't
as
know
I'd
what they're
like,
going to do, and you've got no information. You just have to guess right, and they have to guess right, and everyone has to guess right. And there's not even the, it's not like poker where there's the bluster of convincingly lying. You just don't know what's going to happen until it happens, and then it happened.
So we don't recommend it.
I don't feel that I could recommend Lords of Xidit. It's lovely, but
I don't have the same criticisms that you do, but I also still don't know if I could recommend it for the simple reason that usually when Shut Up and Sit Down finishes reviewing a game, our big group goes, oh, I like this, I didn't like this. But someone came up and talked to us when we were on year 12 of our epic 12-year game and said, is it good? It looks good.
It does.
We all went, that's all right.
It looks lovely.
And that's it. Lords of Xidit. It's all right.
So that's...
Probably don't buy it.
Well, we've got to conclude with something kind of exciting. We have to...
Okay, yes. What if... Do you want to start pitching Lords of Dixit?
Yeah. Let's do it on the new Shut Up and Sit Down whiteboard.
Oh, wicked, yeah. It cost 12 grand, so let's get some use out of it.
Did it? So on your turn, you select a card that represents the monster that everyone else has to fight.
No, on your turn, you make a noise which represents the journey, the concept of the journey which you are going to undertake later on this year.
But the thing is, whether you do that or if the journey is a metaphor.
Yes.
But whatever you pick, only one person can. If it's too easy and everybody gets, if everyone kills the monster, you don't get any points.
No, let me lay it out for you. So you program using the dials which are in your head, the monster which you don't want people to fight, but which...
No, you want one person to fight the monster.
Yeah, no, you want everyone to fight it, but one person wins. Yes. And everybody is this bunny going through the doors.
The different doors.
Yes.
But no, because the doors represent puberty. Different puberties.
Yeah, that's good. I'll write that down.